All right, welcome aboard. What better place to introduce you guys to the bicycles that Eric and I have chosen to ride our upcoming trip, the Baja Divide.
My name is Michael Ladden. I am currently traveling more than 220,000 miles around the world on board my 1994 Staunton Stevenson Overland Expedition rig and KTM adventure bike. This is my story.
Now, to summarize, once again, the Baja Divide is a grueling, close to 1,700 mile trip from San Diego, California, crosses the border into Mexico at Tecate, and then continues to weave its way down the Baja Peninsula up through both Baja states. Eventually, it's going to terminate on the East Cape for us, back at my Overland Expedition rig. So I kind of wanted to introduce you to what we're going to be riding and go over some of the details that we've chosen and kind of why we've chosen the bikes that we're riding. Now, currently I am actually on the Baja Divide route here, practicing. It is early December, and I'm pretty much fully loaded today. And fully loaded on this bike means about 115, 120 pounds. You might be able to tell from the footage. I am bouncing along here in the sand of an arroyo, which is basically a dried up riverbed that only flows during sort of hurricane season. But what it comes with is a lot of rocks, a lot of deep sand, and some difficult travel, particularly if you're going uphill. So let's get into talking about the bicycles that Eric and I are going to spend somewhere between 45 and 60 days riding. All right, so what have Eric and I chosen to ride the Baja Divide on? Well, behind me is a Surly Wednesday, and if you're not familiar with that bike, it is a steel-framed fat bike. It is running 3.8-inch tires on a 26-inch wheel. Also, I believe the wheel is aluminum, actually. From the factory, the bike is about 36 pounds, so it is pretty darn heavy bike in the first place. And then when you start adding the rack system that we have, and then the bags and everything else, the weight goes up exponentially from there. So today, fully loaded, with about 2/3 of the water supply that I'll be carrying. It weighed about 115 pounds. Now, if I took the bags off, probably with the racks and everything on it, it's 45, 50 pounds. So super heavy. But I have nicknamed my bike Unimog, short Mog, and Eric has nicknamed his bike the Tank. And for obvious reasons, I think that they're pretty rugged for this environment. Now, why did we choose a fat bike, particularly one without suspension? And what was our thought-making sort of process involved in that? Well, I spent last year down here in Baja about 6 months, and what I can tell you is I rode my fat bike, sort of a mid-fat bike that I had here last year, that had, I believe it had 3.1-inch tires on it. And I got to tell you, it is just simply not really enough, in my opinion. There is so much sand, and if it's not sand, it's sharp rocks, steep downhills, a lot of washouts, and we just felt that the bigger the tire, the greater the amount of sections that we could probably ride through. Now, that isn't to say that when you have a 115 or 120 pound bike, that we're going to be able to ride up some steep inclines, because that's probably not the case, and there'll be probably a fair amount of hike-a-bike. Eric and I bought the exact same bikes, and they are largely set up the same, and I'm showing you around mine today, but you're going to get to see his coming up in the videos while we're on the Baja Divide. And you're going to see that we essentially went with the same components. What we did swap out from the way that this bike comes stock is that we went to a tubeless tire system. Very important down here. There are so many thorns and so many ways of puncturing your tire that we wanted to go with a tubeless system, so we will be carrying ample amounts of extra sealant in the event that we hit so many things that we drain out some of the sealant inside the tires. So that was kind of the main thing that we originally swapped out. We also changed out the drivetrain. We both chose to go with a SRAM electronic shifting system. We swapped out our rear cassette to a 1052. So the 52 gear is quite sufficient, and I will tell you, in first gear it is difficult because you're going so slow to even keep the bike upright. But with the 10 speed, so it's a 12 speed, with the 10 gear, you find that if we do get to a scenario where we're either on pavement for a brief period of time, you can at least get a little bit of speed out of this setup. The SRAM system is nice because it's lighter, it is wireless, and the batteries generally last quite some time, so we should have ample amount of resupply in order to recharge the batteries. We went with these candy pedals from Crank Brothers. We are going to be riding clipped-in shoes. I know a lot of people sometimes don't, but that's kind of been our decision. Obviously, both of our backgrounds are on road and gravel riding, so we're comfortable with that. You can see I chose Ortlieb bags. I have 2 panniers in the rear and 2 in the front. The ones in the front are smaller, and I found from doing a bunch of test riding here, as much weight as I can get into the back I will do, and as little weight in the front. So my bags in the front are a lot smaller. I also have a handlebar bag. Haven't totally just finalized what's going to go in there. Right now I'm putting lighter clothing in there, but I've kind of been repacking and packing, as you would expect, trying to get the sort of the right mix of where everything is, and obviously when going into camp, the ease at which to unpack the tent. So back here on the rear of the bike, I've got the tent, which is a big Agnes. It's a 2-man tent actually. Which, you know, if you've ever have any familiarity with tents, it's sort of really a one-person tent. And my sleeping bag and pad and sleeping bag liner are all on the back here. So I kind of put my sleeping setup together. And then the bags I've kind of split up where, you know, we've got cooking equipment. I've got some another bag for clothing. We've got a bag for food, and then miscellaneous things. The frame bag here in the middle is also an Ortlieb. By the way, these are all waterproof bags. Baja is fairly dry, but certainly in the north we can experience some rain at times. We're hoping, crossing our fingers, that that's not going to be the case. But largely in here are tools, you know, different stuff, quick grab items. And then I've got a frame bag at the top here along the top tube that I sort of have my camera, my GoPros and stuff in that I can grab and take video footage for you guys. And then you'll notice that these are 64-ounce stainless steel water cans, of which I have 2 on the front here, 1 on the bottom here, and 1 on the back. So I have 4 of those, plus I have 2 24-ounce water bottles that are mounted on the handlebars. And in addition to that, I have my Camelback that has another capacity for another 2 gallons. So there are stretches of this that we've got to go probably 3 days, and we are currently sort of trying to figure out how much water we can actually carry. Obviously at about 8 pounds a gallon, it adds up pretty quick. So we may at times be carrying up to 30 pounds of water. Now, I have recharging capability. I have a solar panel here that's on the top, on the rear, and then I've got a couple, what I'm going to call charging bricks on board that are also solar, one of them which is riding here on my handlebars, and that will be able to recharge the bike computer. Both Eric and I are using Hammerhead Karoo 2s for our cycling computers. We have iPhones in order to shoot video, as well as the 2 GoPros. And then for emergency situations and satellite texting, we are carrying a Garmin InReach device. And that also is mounted up here on my handlebars. So that's kind of the general bike setup. The front here, it is a 1x bike. I'd have to look here. I can't even remember. I know the back is a 1052. I think the front is a 32 crank in the front. So we definitely have gearing that we feel is good. We did install, both of us put kickstands. I got to tell you, that might be the first thing that gets donated to some local kid for their bike. It doesn't hold up this super heavy bike very well, but right now you can kind of see I got it propped up, so it is working right now. And the other big upgrade that we did is the handlebars here. We went with Surly Malaco handlebars, which gives you a little bit more flared back grip. And I find that when I'm riding, it's a little bit easier and friendlier on my wrists. And you can see there's plenty of mounting space because it's got that second bar. And then in the event that you're on some flat surface somewhere, you can kind of lean out and rest almost as if you were in a tri-bike. So that's kind of a nice feature. I installed some mud fender things here. I don't know how effective they're really going to be, but they'll keep some. Particularly, I've noticed they keep some of the cow patty stuff from flying up on your gear. So that's kind of the breakdown of the Surly Wednesday. And of course, why is it called a Wednesday? Well, I don't know. Every day is a great day to ride a bike, right? So, in any case, that is the overview of our Surly Wednesdays. Be sure to stay tuned, subscribe, and follow along with that bell, because we're going to have videos coming out fairly frequently while we're on this trip. So be sure to stay tuned, and Eric and I are going to do our best to, we're kind of joking about it. I don't know whether it's going to be a comedy or a tragedy, but be sure to stay tuned to our reality YouTube series on riding the Baja Divide.
Thanks for watching this video. If you like what we're doing, be sure to subscribe to our channel by clicking on the truck and tree symbol to your right. Once again, thanks and hope to see you soon.